Thank you for joining me for part 3, the final part in the series about when Jesus, Yeshua, will return. Now we're going to look at Exodus 19, verses 10 through 19. And Yahweh, the Lord, also said to Moses, "Go to the people and consecrate them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their garments, and let them be ready for the third day." I'm going to interject here. We see 3 days happening, just like in the Hosea prophecy. We see today and tomorrow, and then let them wash their garments, and let them be ready for the third day. So there's 3 days, today, tomorrow, and the third day. For on the third day, the Lord will come down on Mount Sinai in the sight of all the people. So it's actually the third day when the Lord comes down. And when the ram horn sounds a long blast, they shall come up to the mountain. Isn't that interesting? So Moses went down from the mountain to the people and consecrated the people, and they washed their garments. Let me see. Let me just back up just a little bit. Well, I think I just got a little ahead of myself here. Okay, here it is. When the ram horn sounds a long blast, they shall come up to the mountain. So Moses went down from the mountain to the people and consecrated the people and washed their garments. He said to the people, "Be ready for the third day. Do not go near a woman." So it came about on the third day, when it was morning, that there was thunder and lightning flashes and a thick cloud upon the mountain and a very loud trumpet sound. Again, I'm going to interject. This is what we see right before Yeshua returns. We see thunder and lightning flashes and a thick clouds and a loud trumpet sound. And notice also the sound of a ram's horn. And let's continue here. So that all the people who were in the camp trembled. And Moses brought the people out of the camp to meet God, and they stood at the foot of the mountain. Now, Mount Sinai was all in smoke because the Lord descended upon it in fire. And see, that's exactly how he's told us he's coming back on the second time. He is coming in fire. He will be revealed in flaming fire with his angels. And its smoke ascended like the smoke of a furnace, and the whole mountain quaked violently. When the sound of the trumpet grew louder and louder, Moses spoke, and God answered him with thunder. Remember, there are going to be voices of 7 thunders, and those voices were sealed up in the Revelation. We don't know what the 7 thunders say. I have a feeling that those are all the voice of God, and that there are 7 announcements. And I've seen some things hinting at that in the Psalms, and then also, of course, here in this Exodus passage. Okay, in Revelation 14:4, I'm reminded of something that was just said in this passage. Let me just go back and I'll show you. Let me see. It says, "Be ready for the third day. Do not go near a woman." This is very reminiscent of Revelation 14:4, which says, "These are the ones who have not been defiled with women." It's talking about the 144,000. "For they have kept themselves chaste. These are the ones who follow the Lamb wherever he goes. These have been purchased from among men as firstfruits to God and to the Lamb." So here we see a group who have also washed themselves to prepare and have not defiled themselves with women. And they're firstfruits. Now, interestingly, when we say firstfruits, we know that there's a Feast of Weeks, which consists of 7-day periods or 7 weeks. And at the very beginning of the Feast of Weeks, we have first fruits, which is the barley harvest, and Yeshua was the barley harvest. At the end of the Feast of Weeks, we have Pentecost, which is the end of the wheat harvest. Now, this is important because there's still first fruits. There's first fruits of the barley and first fruits of the wheat. Interesting that these men purchased who did not defile themselves are first fruits, and that the Revelation passage is talking about first fruits when we know Pentecost, or first fruits, of the wheat harvest would have been around the time the law was given. So, okay, let's go on to Numbers 19, verses 11 through 19. And you'll need to read this in context. I've condensed it just a little bit. The one who touches the corpse of any person shall be unclean for 7 days. Remember, there's 7 millennia, and there is still death in the millennium. Even though Satan is bound during that 1,000 years, there's still death during that time. So just keep that in mind. We're not to the eternal age yet until the end of the millennium, the 7th year of millennium. That one shall purify himself from uncleanness with the water on the 3rd day and on the 7th day. Remember how we talked about the 3rd day and the 7th day being the same day? Remember what Hosea said, after 2 days he'll bind us up so that in the 3rd day we can live in his presence. Remember, Yeshua left on, and they're talking about after 2 days. So if he came at the very end of the 4th millennia, the 2 days after that would be day 5 and day 6. And then it said that we would live in his presence on the 3rd day. So the 3rd day would actually be the 7th day. So here's more evidence of that. And then he will be clean. But if he does not purify himself on the 3rd day and on the 7th day, he will not be clean. So we have to wash our robes. Then the clean person shall sprinkle on the unclean on the 3rd day and on the 7th day, and on the 7th day he shall purify him from uncleanness. So that would be the Day of Atonement there. Although whenever I'm thinking about it in terms of Yeshua, anyway, and he is the only clean person. He shall purify him from uncleanness, and he shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water, and shall be clean by evening. Again, this is just a mirror I'm seeing, so hold on to what's good, throw out what's not. And again, here are the week we're talking about. If Yeshua came at the end of the 4th day, he returned to his place. This is after 2 days. That would be day 5 and 6. So after 2 days, 1 and 2 would be day 5 and 6. He will bind us up after that so that in the 3rd day we can live in his presence, but the 3rd day would actually be the 7th day. So I hope the previous verse helped solidify that for you. In Psalm 90:10, now I want to talk about something that's in the Daniel Timeline series, and I'm starting to see it in other videos too. And I'm assuming that people are watching this Daniel's Timeline series and coming up with this date that I'm about to give you based on this psalm, this part of the psalm that's in that series. In Psalm 90:10 we read, "As for the days of our life, they contain 70 years." In that series, they randomly come up with a day, but they try to go forward and then eventually say, okay, in 1948, that's a Jubilee year, and then if we add 70 years, which is the days of our lives, we come up with the year 2018. Well, that is, the year 2018 would not be a full 2,000 years since Yeshua came. And yes, a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is like a day. It doesn't say it's exactly, it says it's like. So we have to be careful and actually look for the signs that Yeshua gave. And remember, we have to see all of those signs, including the abomination of desolation, before we can say that Yeshua is able to return. Because otherwise it would make him a liar, and we can't do that. So the problem with this number, this year 2018, even though yes, it is 70 years from 1948, and I know there's some eclipses that happen right before that year. This is what we need to remember. There's going to be a false coming first. There's going to be an antichrist before the Christ. There's going to be abomination of desolation before the Messiah. There's going to be a graven image prior to Yeshua coming down, just like Moses came down from the mountain and saw that calf. This is the rest of the psalm that was unfortunately left out of that series. The days of our life, they contain 70 years, or if due to strength 80 years, yet their pride is but labor and sorrow for soon it is gone and we fly away. So if we recalculate based on the rest of the psalm that was left out of that series, we see an additional 10 years. 1948 plus 70 years is the year 2018. But if we add the additional 10 years on, you will see 1948 plus 80 years comes to 2028. And what did we say? It would be sometime approximately after 2029 to 2033, based on the time of Yeshua's ascension. So thank you for joining me. God bless.